Hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and welcome to the second session of our Hearts of Wulin Numberless Secrets game. This is a extension of a previous campaign that we did of this. We have some returning characters. We have a new character. It is a game that takes Hearts of Wulin and adds in a mystery solving system that borrows elements from Apocalypse Keys, for example, in terms of the facets and clues and all of those kinds of things. And it draws from various Detective D movies and Ancient Detective and Young Sherlock, and there's all these Chinese dramas and movies that reflect in this. This is from the game Hearts of Wulin, which I did the game design on. The cultural material and historical material was written by Joyce Cheng, and Elin Wang did the sensitivity and culture reading on it. It's I think, a really solid volume. There are a few copies of the small print run left at Indie Print Revolution. If you're interested, you should check that out. The PDF can also be bought there or bought via drive-through at this point. So you should check that out if this at all appeals to you. I think it's a pretty good game. And we do have a supplement that includes these rules that we're using for Numberless Secrets. That's PDF only. So we are taking up our characters last time came together. They heard about some robberies that were happening in their city of Stone's Gate. There were hints that there was something else that people weren't talking about. Both the legal people kind of said something but didn't go on about it. But there are two robberies, and the our detectives were able to kind of ascertain just from talking that it sounds like there are two different criminals at work there. We also heard about Bao Shi and Bao Shi's uh, beloved crush, infatuation. One of them came and confessed his love for someone else, who Bao Shi found out might be a nefarious person, might not be a good person, and so that was put on the table. Uh, Law Sang Zhidai, of course, was contacted by the magistrate, kind of hinting around about getting Blue Mountain Scholar to look into the robberies. And then Chow Lin had returned from a long absence to Song Da, emotionally pressuring them to help out with the investigation of his own society, forcing, not forcing, but perhaps suggesting that Sister Lushan, Chow Lin's ex, is a person that Chow Lin could talk to get information on this. So those are the things that happened as kind of setup. In terms of the kicker here, Master Gongxi Banshan, who's the owner of the Golden House of Songs, which is a rebuilt house of entertainments, gambling house, brothel, a dance house, all of those things. There was an incident there 15 years ago, and it was closed. Fire and a mysterious death. And Master Gongzi has reopened, or is going to be reopening this tomorrow, and or actually the day after tomorrow, if I recall correctly. So the group has been contacted. Master Gongxi has asked for their assistance, subtle and quiet, because there have been some anonymous threats made about this celebration and this reopening. Are essentially anonymous death threats. They must not reopen the Golden House of Songs. And the Golden House of Songs, the big thing here is that Master Gongzi has managed to get the famed, well-respected Moon Petal Springtime Troupe, a very, very pricey and well-regarded group of entertainers who have come, led by a woman known as Sky's Daughter. We have a host of figures from that troupe that are in our NPC tab, and so we're kind of taking up this essentially the day before the opening, if I'm remembering that right. Is that right?
Day before or day before, one or the other.
I think for plot purposes, we're going to say the day before, just to
Okay.
do it as consolidation. I do want to check before we kind of take up with the scenes of you all heading to go and check this out. You've all been given these passes to get in. What uh what, if anything, do you want to do before that in terms of talking to an NPC, talking to a PC, doing a study roll, any of those kinds of things? I just want to go around and check if anybody has anything like that. So, Songda, let's start with you on that question.
Um, hmm.
No, I don't, lol, is also a fair answer.
uh, I I think I'd like to talk to Baoshi.
Okay. So we'll imagine earlier in the day, catch Baoshi when he's by himself, because his assistant Iron Lotus has headed out. Uh, uh, Baoshi, Songda arrives to call on you.
Oh, Saul, please come in. Come in.
Oh,
Would you care for
thank
tea?
you. Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's no trouble, of course.
Oh, no trouble at all. Iron left some ready for me.
Oh, good. Well, so Iron Lotus is.
Not here at the moment. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you wanting to see Iron Lotus?
No.
You may remember I am a detective, and I catch a hint of that not being entirely true.
Well, I was also very much wanting to talk to you.
Well, please sit. I will pour.
Thank you.
What were you interested in seeing me about?
Well, we're getting ready to go and, look into the Golden House of Songs.
Yes.
The Golden House of Songs. And I mean, it may not be the old Golden House of Songs, although it might be. Who knows? But it's just, well, I've read so many stories and histories about the events and the parties and the famous meetings at the Golden House of Song, and well, he sort of like looks down at his clothes, then looks back up and says, "You're always dressed so perfectly for whatever situation we find ourselves in, and I was just wondering if there were any pointers I should know."
Oh, well. Uh, hmm. I will admit that I don't know as much as I would like to about the history of this. Well, it had quite a reputation, but I am admittedly a little young to remember back in its heyday. Um, how about we exchange a little help for each other? Perhaps I could go through my wardrobe and see if there's some things that might fit that you feel comfortable. And you can fill me in a little with the stories and the history. I was going to go look for some of these histories, but, well, You're a famous historian. I suppose I've found a source.
Oh yes, and I've read every story about the House of Golden Song, the Golden House of Song. One of these, I remember it exactly. It sticks in my memory.
It seems. And I will bring you back to, and I think that there's probably like a walk-in cedar closet where I keep my clothes, because you do need to have appropriate clothing for every situation to blend in, of course.
I think his response to every piece of clothing is that he loves it. And do you have it in black?
Well, that sort of defeats the purpose, Song, but we will see if we can go with a darker color palette. And please tell me more of these legends, and I suppose most importantly, what caused it to close, since it had such a high reputation.
I think Songda knows a lot of stories about, especially like meeting of famous Wulin people in the house.
Love affairs and assignations and rivals and duels and all of that kind of thing. It's long storied history of that. And to get to the specifics, to remind everybody, there was a woman named Silver Flute who was regarded as the finest dancer and entertainer of the time. She died. There's a lot of different stories about that. Some say that she poisoned herself. Some say that she was murdered. Some say she died of a broken heart. There are lots of these different stories, but either immediately after that or a little bit after that, there was a fire that broke out in the house and burned it significantly, and it was closed from that point forward. Now, Bao Shi, I'm going to let you make a roll here, because I think that you are, through your abilities, attempting to impress. You are dressing to impress, literally, here. So what do you want to roll that with?
Ooh, I've got fire marked already, so that's creativity. So instead, I suppose we'll go with water. Something along the lines of awareness and wisdom and flexibility there.
Absolutely.
All right. And I'm a naughty person who hadn't pulled up a little bit. I had all that time. All right. So rolling 2 dice, adding +1. I got a 6, which is not very impressive.
So
I can spend a bond, though, can't I?
yes, you can.
Let's something terrible has happened. What happened here? Oh, okay. I thought I lost my thing there, but it didn't. It just reset. All right. I will spend my bond with Sogda.
So you will be able to do this, but the thing that I'm going to say as the potential cost or complication is, I think you do have to. It's a very different build than Songda, and I do think that you and he have to go out, and you kind of have to tap your current resources, your current money, and I think you're going to be short of cash for a bit, shall we say? Does that seem fair?
Yeah, that seems fair.
But you do get to take 2 picks from the impress. Now you can save those for later. One of them allows you to clear an element, so you might want to clear your fire using one of the 2 picks.
That's not a bad idea.
And then you could hang on. You could create a bond with an observer when you arrive there, or you could gain a favor from them.
Yeah, let's clear, and I'll hold on to the other.
Perfect. Chaolin. Again, you said you were a little nervous about coming back here to Stone's Gate.
Yeah.
But now this is a case kind of in front of you, but you've also been asked by Song Da to look into these matters. what are you doing?
I think at the moment I want to talk to Blue Mountain Scholar.
Okay. So you get the address of Blue Mountain Scholar. Janai, are you there, or is Blue Mountain Scholar there when Lin arrives?
What a good question. Probably Blue Mountain Scholar, and probably fairly tricked out actually, because he's got a many assignments that he needs to follow through on. So,
And describe again Blue Mountain Scholar for us. We have that picture in the keeper, but like how does he carry himself, and how is he dressed?
he is an old man, and I think one of the things is that he typically he dresses like he's cold all the time because he's an older guy, and he's clearly gotten shorter as he's gotten older. He's got this, thing, and maybe he looks a little stooped, and but he still walks fairly spryly. But he usually kind of keeps his head down. He has a mustache and a little scruggy beard, and that's kind of the thing. The most that you see of his face, mostly he gestures with, you would say his hands, but it's actually his sleeves. He rarely even takes his hands out of his sleeves anymore. It's very strange. You get the feeling that he's getting quite elderly, if anything. His clothes, however, are nice, kept clean, and they smell strongly of licorice tea. He smells like an old person.
Nice. Yeah, I think you kind of see him like I remember him from before I left, several years ago, and I think it just strikes me how much older he looks.
Wow.
Like, oh, and I'm like worried about him. I think he's been sick,
Yeah, so I do. You get to think, oh, yeah, it is good to see you again. Won't you come in? I will make some. And sort of stops. Would you like some tea?
Um, yes, of course, of course. I'm glad to see you.
Please come in, come in. And he goes, let us go. Let us go out into the courtyard. And essentially, so he brings you into his house. You go through this sort of it's kind of a smallish house, dark, but it's super well laid out if you were a scholar. It's got
Okay.
all of these big chests for keeping the scrolls in, and the thing, and lots of locks on them and things like that. And I'm gonna guess that you're pretty alert and aware. It's Yeah, oh yeah, your awareness is quite high. It is chock full of traps.
Okay.
You have the feeling that when he leaves the house, it becomes a death trap for anyone unwelcome.
All right, yeah.
Yes.
So I think my first question is, are you expecting intrusions?
And,
Had a lot of
and
problems with thieves?
yeah, he waves his hand. He goes, "You never know. This is more precious than even my life. So, yes, it has to remain." And he will walk you out through the yard into this little courtyard that's clearly in the middle of the house.
Mhm.
And it's surrounded, by the walls and the house itself on all sides. But there's this nice little streaming sun, and he's got a little fire that runs out here all the time, and he makes the tea out here. Um, and when he stops, he goes, "You don't want licorice tea, do you?"
Uh, no,
I
thank
got
you.
regular.
Thank
Oh, yeah.
you.
Okay.
Here, let me help you with that.
Certainly. Again, he'll gesture and go sit down, and goes, How have you been doing? You left suddenly, yes? That is what I remember. Or did you just get very busy and I didn't see you before you left? I don't know.
I was pretty busy before I left, but um, I'm back now. Song Da sent me a message. He would like my help. And I have actually, I out of character. I haven't decided what my connection is with the Bureau of Legends, but I have connections with the Bureau of Legends. There we go.
I think you were one of your lovers was a member of the Bureau of Legends,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right.
yes.
Maybe,
But like,
maybe you hope to be a candidate and decided not to, that kind of thing.
yeah, that sounds good. There we go.
And yeah, so he says, so how are you doing? What are
I've
you doing? Is that too much to ask?
um well, right now I came back to here help Sung Da. I've been doing a little of everything. Whatever I'm hired to do. And then I realized like what that sounds like nothing nefarious.
Oh, I understand completely. Actually, I'm glad to hear that you're for hire. I could use some help coming up, I think.
uh what would you need help with?
And sort of says, I may have to travel out and up to the mountain. I would not mind an escort.
I would be happy to do that. That's most of what I've been doing. Is acting as an escort, a guide. Um, not. I know people will tell you. Well, I know a few people will tell you otherwise. A brigand, an escort, and a guide.
It's good to hear not a brigand. That's important. And says, but still, I am glad to see you. Is there something that you need?
uh, well, I've been gone for several years. Uh, I suppose I just want to know what conditions here. What has changed?
And he sort of stops and he goes, I'm trying to think when it was.
So I assume you'll
Yeah.
kind of give the lowdown on the
Low
basics.
down, yes.
What's the one thing that has changed in the last few years that you make sure to mention to Chow? You go through some things we've seen in previous mysteries, so we get some of the footage from the earlier shows
Yeah, and it
to use for
definitely.
that. But what is the one thing you share with Chow Lin?
I think. Ooh, that's such a good question. I think that I talk a little bit about the rise and fall of oh gosh, what's his name? The lion guy.
Oh, you
Golden
mean
lion.
the lion guy whose name got erased from the
Yeah,
thing?
but something lion,
Yeah.
uh, about his rise and fall, and about the turmoil among the criminal groups that were sort of backing him and all of that, and saying everything is churning right now. It's a profitable time to be for hire, and it's also a very dangerous time to be for hire. So be careful who you're accepting jobs from. I am righteous, and you need not worry about my coin.
Thank you for the advice. I will definitely look into anyone hiring me before I take a job.
It helps to look for tattoos.
That seems like a good place to cut there. Bao Shi, besides helping Song Da with his work, is there anything else that you wish to do?
Yeah, I think, I had kind of wanted to hear some of the history, and I think that Sogda has given me a bit of that. So, I think after we, Sogda gets stretched, why don't you accompany me? perhaps you can see a little field work.
I'm always curious to see your next case.
Well, eh, well, it's this case, but still, yes, of course, yes.
I meant in the sense of the Chronicles of Baoshi. Obviously, the next
I like that.
case in the
Chronicles of. Oh yes, quite. And we'll head out, and I'm wanting to go to. I imagine there's kind of a district for this, or maybe there's at least somewhere to center. I'm wanting to find where the construction crew that did the refurbishing. I want to speak to someone who did the refurbishing.
Absolutely. I think that you will find that there were a number of groups that were doing stonework and woodwork and so on, but there is an architect overseer who was kind of in charge of all of that, who probably, is kind of now finally taking a break from everything. Though we'll be there on the opening night, but we will give them a name, and we will call them the Silent-Faced Sage.
Ooh, Silent-Faced Sage. All right. I will go to their office or wherever I can find them and ask, would it be possible for me to speak with the Silent-Faced Sage, please?
Absolutely. You have a reputation you've established there. People know that you're an eccentric expert, so you have a little bit of that. You're not quite the magistrate that can get in anywhere that Blue Mountain Scholar is, but you are welcomed. And Silent-Faced Sage will you are Master Baoshi.
Yes, indeed. And I wanted to congratulate you on the marvelous work that you have just finished for the. Had you just put stuff in the chat so I will see it correctly? Golden House of Song.
Oh, you've seen the work then?
I have seen the exterior, and I will kind of pull out the little token. Oh. And later this evening, I will be going in and taking a look before the opening night at the marvels within.
I hope that you are impressed, Master Baoshi.
Oh, I'm sure I will be. Your reputation is, of course, sterling. I was wondering, when I go to visit, any particular highlights I should make sure to see?
We have done quite a bit of work. There are two sort of challenges that we face. The first, of course, is simply age and time and the elements. There had been a caretaker, but they had been there pretty much to make sure that people did not enter into the household. And they were a little old for even that a few years ago. It's mostly been superstitions and rumors about hauntings that have kept people out of there. And he kind of pauses and he says, with good reason. But then the other sort of matters that we have had to deal with is the Eastern Wing's fire damage that spread throughout there. Yes.
I imagine that took a tremendous amount of your efforts to practically rebuild the entire thing, I would assume.
No, it was a significant fire, but it was contained to the wing. And I was expecting significantly more interior damage there. It's hard to tell given time and so on, but I certainly think that they were very lucky in terms of how far it spread, that it did not go outside that wing. It did not reach other areas of the mansions.
That particular wing held what at the time?
I would assume it was where the courtesan stayed and so on. That would be my impression. Certainly how we rebuilt the wing.
You mentioned the rather supernatural stories that have proliferated over the years. I myself have always, I've always been a bit of a believer in those sorts of things. I don't suppose. Well, did you encounter anything odd?
I had a distinct feeling, a coldness when I first entered that place and when I moved through it. And there were a few objects left behind. And I recall when I found a mirror, bronze mirror that had been left, and I wiped away the soot from it, and I could see myself in it, and there was a face over my shoulder. But when I turned back, it was gone. And I know that my workers have, this has been a challenge. They do not wish to work there after dark. And we've had a priest out a few times to say some blessings. But a few of them that have worked after dark have said that they have seen things. In particular, they speak of a great black-blue cat with burning fire eyes that moves through the halls that they've seen, and that when they heard it mewl, it frightened them to the bone.
Imagine so. That's fascinating, sir. Oh, well. I look forward to seeing your work, and in all honesty, I get a bit of a thrill being around things of such strange nature. I assume you will be there opening night.
Oh, absolutely. Opening night, I will be there. It is a chance to show off all the work that we have done, and certainly, and he pauses, Master Banshan delights in people showing off his things.
Yes, he is a man full of delight.
He is a active and enthusiastic gentleman.
Well, I hope to see you there opening night and have a chance to, well, congratulate you and share with you your tremendous victory.
Thank you. We are well met, Detective.
And I will head out and look over its song. Very enlightening, wasn't it?
Yes. Oh, it was fascinating. Here, if you could help me, and he shows you where he's been like writing this whole time that you've been having the interaction. Now, which do you think sounds better? That Master Baoshi's razor intelligence cut through all of the intervening lies, or the blazing intensity of Master Baoshi's mind burned away all of the chaff, leaving only the molten ingot of truth?
Ooh, I like that one.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, he'll scratch out the other one. Oh, it's terrible. It's offensive. um, can I, just because I find myself very low on bonds, can I try and do a comfort and support there?
Oh, I like that. That's an interesting maneuver. I think you are doing that. You certainly have that relationship. What do you want to roll that with?
I think this is water awareness and wisdom,
Okay.
discernment. It's an 8.
That is an 8. So you may you lift them up. They can choose to give you a bond, and since they don't have any element mark, that's probably what it is. So you can mark in a bond with Baoshi.
Yep.
Nice.
Lost Song Shadai, Blue Mountain Scholar, is there anything you wish to do before you head out? Anything you wish to look into?
Yes, I wish to hire Chow Lin to go with me to look into these burglaries. I need to show up, to speak, to take a look, to talk to those who have had these things taken from them, to get a sense of what it is, and when it was, and what they have heard or seen or know.
All right. Uh,
And I
there will
start out
be
with I'm like, well, I could use your help now. I do not know how much clambering about is planned, so I may need your assistance. And
as the two of you go, as you open the door, you will see that there is a figure there who has the outfit of a courier who will I am here to deliver a message to Lost Song Janai.
ah, yes, my niece. She will be back shortly.
Uh, 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 I am to hand it to her directly.
Ah, um, and I sort of stop and say, well, she's had singing lessons. Lord knows she needs them. So she should be back in an hour and a half or so.
All right.
Here. And I will give him some coins and say, go have something to drink, come back later. Sorry to cause this development. And off I go. Again, waves her hands, but the fingers never show. It's just the sleeves.
So we will see the montage of the two of you going and looking at the various places as we established two of the burglaries of these merchants very clearly stealing for wealth and cash. You're fairly certain about that.
Mm-hmm.
The other two, there's some theft, but there's also some signs that point to you that maybe there was a secondary agenda to those that seems to be in play there.
Like they were looking for something that hasn't been noted as stolen, that they were snooping through things, that they were trying to use this place to cite something.
Do you want to make a study roll for that?
I do want to make a study roll. I would like to understand what their secondary agenda was.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will make you play out scenarios of like you're my partner and then they did this and they did this. So
Okay.
I'm gonna make a study roll. Probably see it's a study roll, right? So it's gonna be disastrous.
You have Chow Lin there to do a comfort and support after you fail.
Okay, all right. Then I'll use Earth. Okay. Let's see here. You know what? You're supposed to go and get that number rolling thing set. Okay, here we go. And this is. Why are all my names so long? Terrible. Okay, so I'm rolling 2d6 and I'm adding 3.
Okay.
So I rolled an 11 again.
So that is an 11. So you have 2 hold.
Okay.
To ask questions or reveal details, that kind of thing. So what is it you want to know, or what is it you want to declare?
I walked this thing through. I've studied under my uncle. What was their secondary agenda? What was the draw here from, this place, whatever item they picked? What was
Whoever went through these 2, they were checking the whole place out. They rifle through documents. They look for secret panels. They were trying to find other things. They were clearly not just stealing, but checking out or investigating or looking for something in particular.
Hmm.
And you guess from like the different places that they check, it wasn't like they were looking for the Maltese Falcon, like something specific, but that they were like really doing a kind of overview, trying to find out what they could about these people or look for any kind of evidence or some sign or something.
All right. Um, and then I guess the question uh, what is up with these two particular merchants? What is in common between them? How long have they, this sort of, who are these merchants?
These are two merchants. They have done rather well from themselves. They have managed to survive through thin periods, and have always uh, uh, kept themselves together. They've been uh, generous, though. How do I put this? They are parsimonious in terms of their donations to people and places and things like that. Like they are people who grip tightly to their wealth. But I think the thing that you will know is that the two of them rose to prominence, or became merchants here. You're not sure if they were here or if they arrived here about 15 years ago.
Which coincides with when the House of Golden Songs burned down? Is that
That is
about the same
correct.
time frame? All right. Yeah, and I make pleasantry talk. I talk about, oh, I remember what was here before you, like I talk about the place that they're in, and I'm like, and it was this guy, and I say, how was it that you came here? And just as I'm looking through things in that sort of way,
Yeah.
if I can. Yeah.
Like one of the things I think you will note as a tangential, the other thing that you will notice is that they were okay, kind of telling the guards things like that about this. But now that there's kind of been this more investigation and things, they are very much downplaying. It was a minor break-in. There's nothing to worry about. There's no reason why we should have someone as illustrious as Blue Mountain Scholar and his bodyguard looking at this. This is a waste of your talents and efforts. This is a trifle. This is nothing. Well, this sort of thing should stay with the local guards. Do not worry about it. And they're both backpedal now that your nose is stuck in it.
Really?
Yes.
There are times when I understand why my uncle enjoys this job so much. Yeah, so I think that makes sense. I just say, well, I will tell Magistrate Darlin that I have been here. I will, yeah, she asked this of me just to make
Is
sure
there
that
something I
no
can do to recompense you for your time, so that when you go away, having done this, you don't worry about that. We've covered your expenses in some way.
I think he stops and he goes, no, though I may stop by later for a gift.
Please, absolutely. You have merely to come down, and we'll find you something of the finest, for Blue Mountain Scholar.
All right.
Yeah, I think Shaolin, you'll see that both that obsequiousness that they shift to. They clearly do not want a detective poking their nose into their business here.
All right. I will cheerfully give you the lowdown on the way back.
Okay,
And
yeah.
yeah. And then he will go, I have to get ready for this evening. I think that we're supposed to meet up with Baoshi and Sangha. Yeah. I will see you then.
That's the impression I had.
All right. Yes. And I'll scoot into my house and get changed so I can take my letter when the messenger comes back.
And I'll answer what that is right now.
Okay.
You will find in there, heavily ciphered and encoded, is a note from your uncle, kind of giving you an update. He is still looking into matters. There's some oddness. He has been following your work with great attention. He loves hearing about how well he's doing from a distance. And he will say, one thread that has occurred again and again is mention of the Bureau. Be cautious in dealing with them. Okay. Iron Lotus, uh, we have been kind of letting people have a chance to talk to NPCs or talk to PCs, sort of before we kind of cut to all of you going to this day before celebration that you've been given the pass to. So, is there anybody that you want to talk to, PC or NPC wise, or a move that you want to make? It's also fair to say, no, Lowell, I just walked in on this. You are muted, double mute. Still double muted.
Are we no longer
There we
muted?
go. Yay.
Okay. We were triple muted.
Triple muted. Triple dog muted.
How does that even happen? Anyway, yeah, I'm still considering my options. I'm happy to pull out the shadow boxing move at any point to explain for what happened earlier. But yeah, but for now, I'm good. I'm good with just observing.
Okay. So in that case, let's take our first break here. And we'll come back and we'll kind of make the arrangements. We're talking about like doing maybe a trio and a pair, or two pairs and a single, kind of going in to the house to kind of mix things up. So let's take our usual 10, and then we'll come back and we will continue on.
Okay, see you then.
So we take up as evening falls. Lanterns are out in the street, though it is raining just a little bit. So you can tell that it's going to rain more later. So we'll have some ominous thunder and lightning in the background. But you know, the chosen people are being brought in carriages, but otherwise have umbrellas, that kind of thing. Get to see that moving through the streets here, and we're going to see this ostentatious, absurdly large manor in a second, the mansion. How are you splitting up? You mentioned before that you weren't all going to go in together, but that you plan to split into 2 or 3 groups to do this. How do you think you want to proceed with this? Kind of throw it out there open. Songda?
I was gonna say, I think since Baoshi is partially using what I'm wearing to make a statement here, it would make sense for me to come with him.
So Songda and Baoshi. And then we already kind of established Chow and Sanai. So Iron Lotus, would you like to go with one of those pairs, or would you like to go on your own?
Ooh, yeah, I think I'll keep an eye on Master Baoshi. I'm very concerned since he received that news from the Captain Guard.
Absolutely. I think that makes sense. So we will see. We've got the outside. There are canals that attach to some gardens and little garden islands, but the actual mansion itself is the big central building. There are secondary gardens outside. There are two different wings. Everything is done in that blinding red and gold and tapestries that you see in the movies. Picture those scenes where everything is just done up to the nines. Baoshi, what's another interesting detail or image or paint the scene bit for this grand mansion?
I think I'll dip into a little old Roman history. I think up in the ceilings of some of the rooms, you have what looks almost like clouds that mist down different scents. So you could go
Absolutely.
to one room and it's the lavender, and another is the rose, or some of them maybe even not even that pleasant, just unique to stimulate you.
Ugh, the licorice room.
uh and Songda, what's another detail of this place that we see, on camera as the camera comes in or moves through the rooms?
I think they have a group of musicians playing in the common room when you come in, and they all have like gleaming bright silver instruments that look, even if it's improbable, like they're made completely out of metal. And I think the one thing they don't have is a flute.
Ooh, nice. uh uh Iron Lotus, what's another detail we see here?
Yeah, I think they've hired ostensibly dancers and actors to be like goddess nymph like beings that are always just like barely out of sight, moving between the curtains. You can never directly interact with them, and they tend to disappear if you follow them.
We've got a lot of the gossamer curtains, people moving behind them, silhouettes that come around. These are clearly not people that belong to the what do I call it? The Moon Petal Springtime troupe, but they're clearly hired by Master Ban Shan to kind of and this is the night where they're trying this out. This is the rehearsal dinner, as it were, where people are there are a few VIPs besides yourselves, but there's a lot of them trying things out. I think one of the things you see is in one of the central halls, they've got this raised platform that looks like a lotus flower that's huge, and it will slowly open up, and there are dancers in it, and the lotus flower will turn, and then it will close, and when it opens up, the dancers have changed their costumes, and they keep doing that. It's impractical and absurd, and you're still not sure how they're doing that, but that is what is happening. Lin, what's another thing that we see on screen here?
Building on all the sort of lightweight gossamer drapings, there is, especially in like the biggest room, like the doors are arranged and people have been hired to stand outside to like fan the air to like create these kind of like movements as if people are walking through and they aren't, just to like they're going for creepy here. But just a little bit creepy, just enough to make it exciting.
Yes. There's some people who are maybe a little nervous about how there's already rumors about ghosts, perhaps
Right.
it does seem like Master Gongzi is tempting fate by doing this. Lost on Zanai, what is another bit we see in this weird sort of dreamlike place as you move through? We definitely see There are rooms for gambling. There's a garden that spills from the inside to the outside. They've planted trees indoors. We've got the wing that is devoted to just beautiful men and women waiting on people, dancing for them, treating them to wine and drinking and all of that kind of thing. What else do we see? You are muted.
I think that one of the things that you see is that as the VIPs come in, there are a set of hosts and hostesses that are there, and you will see them where they will look to see who catches the guest's eye, and they will sort of glide over to them, but they don't come all the way up. They actually stand on what just looks like a tile, and they say, "Let me show you, where you would like to go." And it's sort of this strange thing where they're gliding on this tile. It's clearly a setup of some sort where the thing is, but they're going along and they're telling the person, like telling people what is what is where, whatever it is that they want to go to, and then they can like stop it and step off of it. But it's just a little bit raised up. You wouldn't step on it naturally yourself, but they follow, and they're very, how you say, like very obsequious, but also sort of strangely up above and untouchable in a way, if that makes any sense.
I
So
like
it's
it.
very.
So we have all of the NPCs that are there in those first 3 rows are present. If we want to have persons from the later rows 4 or after, we can do that. But what I want to do, this is the part of the mystery where we meet all of our suspects and potential victims and all of those kinds of things. So I want to do this as a once around where you say, this is the person I want to encounter. Let's see what they're like. So Baoshi, who is it that draws your eye? Who would you like to talk to?
I think that catching my eye first, and since I get to go first, I'm going to get the cool one. I'm going to do Impermanent Saint.
Okay. So you will see this figure is walking around, and there is a trail of cold smoke that, like, his footprints appear behind him and they kind of vanish in smoke. And he walks out through one gossamer curtain, and then you see him walk in through another one. And he is moving about, and he will come over to where you are at. Again, fine features, kind of pointed, that long hair with the streaks of white through it. You can see the various talismans and markings of his probably Taoist training. There's some other unusual markers there, and he will say, "Your eyes are very sharp."
And your skills are very impressive.
I learned my magics at the feet of many masters.
I must admit, I am mystified by much of what I've seen, and I am seldom mystified.
Magic always mystifies. Are you not a believer?
I have seen many who claim to do magic that were mere charlatans, but the existence of charlatans does not mean there is not magic.
That is true. That is true.
You are a performer.
I am an illusionist. a magician, and it so happens that I have brought my talents here to the troupe, to Sky's Daughters. Gathering of talent.
The reputation of the troupe is tremendous, and judging by your immense capabilities, I understand why.
Ah, you flatter me. I am Impermanent Saint, and who might you be, my handsome young man?
I bet you flatter me. I am Baoshi.
The detective.
Some know me for my small talents as a detective.
I have heard of the reckoning you dealt at the tournament.
It was a conundrum that did take some puzzling out.
So you believe you see through things to the truth?
It is a calling. Often I see through to the truth, given enough time to wheedle it out.
In my experience, people who have it as their job to see through to the truth as much make that truth real as uncover it. No disrespect intended, and you will see kind of lights flash as he draws his hands apart.
None taken. And what I look for in truth, as I'll kind of gaze back across the crowd, has more to do with what is hidden inside the hearts of people. And you observe, and you see the gentleman over there. See how studiously he is speaking with the lady in front of him, and yet, if you watch, it is not she that he is most interested in. In fact, he is consistently turning his back to that young lady. See on her face how this angers her. He knows what he's doing. It is through studying people that you get to the heart of my business, which is uncovering, well, malfeasance. And I would like to use my impress to pick up a bond with this person.
Absolutely. Go ahead and write in a bond with Impermanent Saint. He will say, I will have to stride carefully around you, detective. It does leave me with a question. Why
Yes.
are you here? And he's gone.
Very impressive indeed.
Lost Songs and I? Who would you like to talk to?
Let's see. Well, I am Blue Mountain Scholar, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I apologize.
That's okay. It's sometimes I forget to. I have to look down at my sleeves and see if they're covering my hands, and then I know which I am. Who do I want to talk to? I am curious to see the household of Gongzi. So it might be Lady Mirang or whomever it is that are among his assistants.
Which one? We have Lady Gongzi sort of seated in an area where she can sit and rest and kind of hold court and observe everything. And Duan Su is Master Gongzi's assistant. She moves around, checking on things, making sure everything is all right. Which of those two?
Tuan Su, very striking. But really, If no one speaks to Lady Gongzi, they are missing all of the fun. I think that is where I need to go.
And as you approach, you see her eyes kind of widen for a minute and then they settle back in, and she will say, Blue Mountain Scholar,
And oh
we
boy,
have not yet had the pleasure.
that's an interesting thing. And I bow and I say, and a great misfortune that is Lady Gongzi. And I will say, it is an amazing sight, this place. Because discerning eye in many places.
It is a lavish affair, is it not?
And he sort of goes a bit beyond me, but still a pleasure to behold.
It is a temple to excess, not unlike how it was before, but perhaps this is even more in that line.
And I will say, I've certainly studied what it was before, at least from my uncle's notes of the things that led up to it, because I'm sure when all of that went down, it was a big scandal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will make some mention of that, like how it was before.
And I knew of it then, but I was not anything beyond a casual visitor to the outer chambers here. My brother-in-law and sister were more regular attendants at that time.
And let's see here, I think sort of say, I stop and go, I remember and he sort of says, the drinking room down below next to the dice room? Strangely, they had the best wine there always.
Oh, I see. And she nods, like she has heard your reputation with the wine there. And she will say, my nephew did not mention that he had invited you. And she says it kind of pointedly.
And I say, well, he seemed most intent on my young friend Baoshi, that he should attend.
I see.
It seems that he has some concerns that everything goes smoothly this evening and the next. I hope that we do not inconvenience you, Lady Laurel.
This thing will continue of its own speed and weight. I doubt that you will have any effect upon it. These affairs are already in motion.
That is absolutely true. And I smile, and he doesn't, he rarely looks up, but he does, he sort of makes the gesture and he bows and he says, if I can be of any service to you, please only say.
And I think at this point you turn around. Shaolin is maybe a little bit away because this is a spectacular place. Like you're just absolutely, and you will see this person come up to you. You will see the strip of cloth across their eyes, and they come forward. You will recognize them from the Verdant Sword Alliance place.
Mm-hmm.
And he will say, Lost Songs Tonight. It has been some time.
Is he in earshot of anyone?
No.
Thank goodness. And I say, ah, Crave of Saints, it has been some time. How are you?
I am fine. It sounds like you have a cold.
And she stops and she goes, actually, I was trying to disguise my voice.
Forgive me.
No, I'm still practicing. It's
Oh.
okay.
I see.
But not from you. What are you doing here?
There's a pause, and he says, I had a friend who asked me to come, he says, very clearly lying.
You say, I am anxious to get a look around this place. What have you seen so far? Is there anything of note?
It is more what I have smelled and what I have heard, and the general tenor of things here. Perhaps I might walk with you?
I would very much appreciate that.
And I'm going to cut away from that.
I'm like,
as you look back at Shaolin.
I'm like, I sort of give you the signal of I gotta go kind of thing. There.
Iron Lotus, who do you want to interact with here?
As someone who spends much time assisting others, I keep an eye out and I look for the one person who's doing the real work. And so I'd like to meet Duan Su, the assistant to Master Gongsi.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things you'll see as you approach her, she's dressed in a kind of almost like what we would say almost a mannish business suit kind of. I mean, it's clearly still presents stuff which is doing that kind of establish an atmosphere. You would say she is as beautiful as any of the women here, and perhaps just as graceful. And as you approach, she will bow to you, because clearly approaching, and she says, "You are with Bao Shi's entourage."
Yes, I have the pleasure to serve at Master Bao Shi's discretion. I'm sure you've heard of his numerous exploits as a detective, and you yourself. I wish to present myself as Iron Lotus, and I'm waiting for her to officially introduce herself.
I am Duan Su. I am Master Banshan's assistant. I make sure that everything goes according to plan.
And I take a look around at all the complexity that's going on, and I say, this seems to be a very complicated plan that you must keep tabs of. I am impressed by your skill.
It is a certain kind of human clockwork that I must organize and wind up from time to time. Though I will say the machine at the center of it, Sky's daughter and her group, are a pleasure to work with given their initiative and independence, yet always managing to blend in with what we have.
That is wonderful to hear. This is my first time in partaking in something like this. What would you recommend that I make sure my Master Bao Shi is sure to enjoy?
See her pause, and she says, "That's interesting. I was under the impression that, Master Iron Lotus, that you had a long history of indulging in such pleasures."
Uh,
I mean, no
well,
disrespect in that.
of course, of course. Um, I am once past the sure to catch up no matter what one does. But the master's pleasures and his preferences are different from mine. And I admit, my lady, you catch me. I wanted to see what you were interested in or what you found pleasure in.
I find efficiency and control attractive and interesting to me. Now, you've asked about drinks. Come with me and I will show you the clockwork wine dispenser that we have set up with some of the finest beverages here.
And then I bow low and follow her.
And she will take you over to, they have built a fountain, and there are different birds and things that apparently you turn, and then particular different wines come out into your cup. And she will kind of reach up for a slightly obscure bird that's up at the top and will instruct you to put your cup out. And she'll turn it just slightly, and this beautifully scented wine, you can tell that it is lovely and high end, will pour into it for you. May I ask a question of you, Iron Lotus?
I will do my best to answer it, of course.
Do you take these threats seriously that my master has said?
Well, as I have witnessed over time, one can never be too careful. I'm sure you understand the idea of being prepared for any contingency.
Oh, yes, I am prepared for many eventualities.
Indeed, you are. I would like you to consider that we are here to offer what protection we can.
Well, then, certainly that puts my worries at ease.
I'm pleased to hear it.
Do you want to do a study move or anything, or are you good with that interaction?
Yeah, I wanted to try a taste of cold steel
Okay.
when I study a situation looking for potential trouble. Um, because I'm trying to see if anyone is watching us or if anyone is being like suspicious.
Sure. What do you want to roll that with?
Let's see. I think I'm definitely like keeping an eye on things, but um I think I'm depending more on my intuition. So it feels more
Okay.
like water.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna roll with water. Da, da, da.
So that is a 9. So that is 1 hold or 2
Yeah.
hold with a complication.
Ooh, I think I'll accept. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'll take the 1 because I get to freely ask one of these 2 questions in addition to the regular hold.
Yeah.
Um,
So do you want to ask one of those
yeah.
first, or do you want to ask another question or declare a detail?
Yeah, I think I want to first ask um who here is looking to cause trouble?
I think the person that will kind of strike you as like acting maybe a little unusual here is there is a swordsman that you've seen, this jade sword sage, who has been moving around, and you can tell that he has been avoiding you and your companions. Like, he's been making sure that, like, you don't get eyes on him too long. But the other person that you see with a flimsy disguise is, you will see Songbird Jun, the poisoner from a clan of assassins that Bao has a crush on, who is clearly like moving around with that kind of, like, is he hunting for someone? Is he here to kill someone? Like, he's definitely not moving like the other people here, and quite possibly here to cause trouble.
Um,
You have another hold.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it to declare a detail that I catch.
Sure.
In that there's something about the way Duansu carries herself that I can tell as someone who is hiding their true self that she often wears a disguise as well. Like, I'm not looking at it right now, but there's just something about her.
She's concealing something, maybe multiple somethings there, with her manner, her dress, her bearing. All of that suggests that there is something else there, very deliberately withheld. Chow Lin, who would you like to talk to?
We've got I guess I'll talk to one of the moon petal people. Not one of the performers. Oh, here we go. How about Scholar Genshin?
Yeah. You will approach. He is dressed in that kind of almost military uniform cut, the kind of severe cut to that. And as you approach, he will turn, and you can see that there is a kind of a bleed of black around his eyes that kind of smolders up. His eye there is completely black with a kind of a blue, almost marble-like for the iris in it. He would be devastatingly handsome, but this like, it's disturbing to look at, and it's definitely a sign of some kind of chi or element infection or something of that sort.
Actually, is that a thing I might know something about?
Do you want to make a study roll?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Look at that.
Oh, and you know, you actually have a deadly secret. So if you want to declare something about that,
Oh, right.
like it kind of focused on that thing. If you want to declare something about that, I think that would
okay.
fit.
Okay. Someone from that affection group may ask about or declare one detail. Yeah. Do I need to roll for that, or is it just a?
No, that's free.
Okay, cool. He's been poisoned.
Yeah, you can tell that. You see the signs, maybe the acupuncture marks. Maybe he even has a needle kind of strategically hidden away to tie up his meridians. But this is not somebody who's overworked themselves, but it's somebody who's been poisoned, and he has done the work to keep it from killing him. And you guess it
Yeah.
has been this way for quite a while.
Okay, cool. Cool. All right, yeah. So I guess I want to. Yeah, I think I will approach him and pretend not to like. Obviously, not so much to not notice, but I'm not going to ask about it.
Okay. He does very deliberately like look at you like straight on eye contact to kind of force you to see him, and he will say greetings to you.
Uh, how are your how is what are their names? You'd think I just had them. I just said it. Moonpetal. There we go. How is your troop settling in?
It is an unusual venue, a uh, uh, a we would prefer a more conventional theater or a place to perform, but we have many performers and they can find places to work here. We were paid significantly to come here, and we're very glad of that.
I well, I would hope so. Your troop is well known. Even I, who am not not an expert, have heard of you.
And what precisely kind of interrupts you? And what precisely are you? You're not a merchant. You're not a noble from the town. You're not anyone else that I would say. I mean, you're very different from the others who are here.
I am a lowly guide and bodyguard, and right now I'm helping a friend uh, investigate some threats to the owner of this place, and you have heard of the reputation of this place, right?
How could one not? I suspect that half of the reason we came was the rumors of ghosts and old tales and so on. My mistress is a great collector of stories and things of the fantastic, so it appeals to her macabre.
Has she seen anything to pique her interest?
If she has, she keeps it to herself.
How about you? Is that why you're here? Or are you also interested?
I am a person who performs many duties for the troupe. I am an arranger. I am a choreographer. I am a writer. I'm a poet. I have many, many caps that I don here for the troupe.
A fellow person of many duties.
Yes, absolutely. I think we share sympathy in
Yours
that.
are, well, I was going to say more peaceful, but perhaps not.
These threats, are they serious?
That's what we're trying to find out. They sound serious, but given this place's reputation, it could be some extortion plot. It could be someone who just has a grudge and only wants to make Master Gangzi nervous and throw off the opening night. We're not sure yet. if you do see anything strange, yeah, please let me or I can everyone's names. I go through everybody's names.
All right.
No, and we will help you as best we can.
I will keep that in mind. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with you, Master Chowlin. Are you good with that interaction?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Songda, who do you want to talk to?
I mean, I obviously have to go talk to Hu Yaoshi.
He is in the courtesan wings. You see there are beautiful merchant women and handsome merchant men who are hanging on his every word. He is reciting poetry, apparently extemporaneously composed, beautifully done. He will sing that out. He gets their attention. There are tips that are given to him. He moves around. He pours the wine. His hands grace lovingly across people's shoulders, just enough to keep them interested, but not enough to commit to anything. And then suddenly he's up by you, and his hand is running across your shoulder.
And can I start this off with a historian move roll to see how he feels about the Bureau?
Let's see here. Let me look at this. He is not like a Wulin. He is just a performer.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think actually that's what you'll realize is when you are talking to him, like you're like, maybe Wulin, maybe you have some Jonku training, and then you realize, oh no, this is just a super handsome dude. He certainly plays himself up, presents himself with an air of mystery and intrigue. The unusual tattoos that he keeps strategically hidden, shows them just a little. People catch the eye, and then he hides them again, as if to say, no, you shouldn't see that.
Noticed. Oh, my. Hello. My name is Songda. Hello. It's wonderful to. What a performance!
Thank you. This is a beautiful outfit you have, and he runs his fingers along the seams of it.
Oh, thank you. Master Baoshi dressed me. I mean, not like personal with his hands. Just well, I just borrowed some of his clothes.
Interesting. I'd love to hear the story behind how that happened. Wine?
Yes, please.
There you go. You're not like the other boys around here.
Oh, really? Well, you're not like anyone around here.
And he kind of looks down and then you flatter me, Songda. What brings you here?
Well, actually, the master of the house, Gongxi Banshan, he invited me personally to
Oh, you must be
view and.
very important if that's the case. Are you very
Well,
important?
I have written some histories that some people have read.
Ooh, a writer.
I,
Do
I'm
tell.
a historian. I chronicle the most important and glamorous events of the Wulin world, and
I see.
well,
Go
I,
on.
the reopening of the Golden House of Songs. I mean, it's legendary. It should be a night to remember for the ages.
Yes, I assume it will be.
And well, obviously, with the Moon Petal troop here and the
Me,
way
yes, yes.
your
Now we're back to what I'd like to talk about.
words and your poetry and your, do you smell that? It's very like flowers.
Yes. I spent a great deal of time carefully collecting the scents that I use throughout the evening. I'm glad you noticed. Most people don't have such a refined sense of smell.
Oh well, it's my job to
He
notice
holds out his
details.
wrist. I just applied some here. Would you like to?
Oh, it's very. Oh my, that's wow. It's
Well, I shouldn't keep you from your historian duties, should I?
shouldn't you?
Should I?
Oh well, I mean, I don't want to stop you from if you were. This night's obviously for you.
Perhaps another drink or two?
Yes, I feel very thirsty.
And another wine after another wine is handed to you there. Let's take 5 and let's come back and let's like get our trio and our duo together and then maybe kind of cross streams then. Sound good? So quick 5. So let's bring back together kind of cross paths, Song Da, Bao Shi, and Iron Lotus after your conversations and so on. And again, if at some point you want to move to a study move, if there's anything else you want to do with that, just say. But Bao Shi, where do you cross paths? Is it in a garden? Is it in the dice room? Is it upstairs on a balcony?
Ooh, I love a balcony. Oh, I'm a big one. A balcony, maybe looking across the garden.
Absolutely. Looks out, shows you just how wild a place it is. One of the things is that even sort of beyond the gardens, there is like almost a small woods that they apparently didn't get around to clearing out. It's kind of grown up over the last 15 years here, left unattended. And so, yeah, outside, the cool air will hit you. There is an overhang. You can see that the rain is coming down. We get that shot of it gathering on the eaves and then coming down in those sheets there before you.
Lotus, have you been enjoying the festivities?
I have, Master Baoshi, and I have come across some interesting people, especially one that I am most concerned of, but I will leave that to your judgment, Master. It is Songbird June appears to have joined us wearing a interesting disguise, if it could be called such a thing. I do not know if he wishes to be discovered or if this is the best that he can manage. But
Well, he clearly must be trying to hide himself if he hasn't taken the time to say hello. Oh, hi there, Song Da. Song, are you all right?
And I think Sogda, as he comes up, is like absently twirling one of those purple flowers that Hu Yao Shi had, and just a little bit glassy eyed and sort of unsteady on his feet. So yes, no, I'm sorry. What was the question?
Well, Lotus Song came by earlier in the day, and as you can see, wanted a bit of fashion, and we did a bit of a makeover. Though I have to say, Song seemed a little disappointed you weren't there.
I see. Um are you sure? Do you need water, Songda? Or and then I like reach out to steady you when you're like moving around a bit, like about
Oh
to.
no, no, be careful of the outfit. It's a very good outfit. I've had compliments on
It
the outfit.
Yes, it's very handsome on you, Songda. It's quite becoming.
Oh, um, will Debauchee put it on me?
I oh the,
It,
yeah,
I
yes.
I helped Song pick out a few things, and we went by my tailor. You know, he is a true master. You know, dross to gold, as it were.
The
Lead master.
the restoration on the house has been amazing.
It is remarkable. We visited the architect, Lotus, and spoke about mysterious, supernatural, even things that were going on. You know my opinion. Most supernatural things are just flibbity gibbets and foolishness. But that doesn't mean they all are. Mentioned a huge cat with burning eyes stalking about the place and odd apparitions.
Perhaps these rumors, in our experience, Master Baoshi, usually it is to cover something much more mundane. So that could be the case here, but like you, I remain open to the possibility.
If there were a place that were going to be haunted, I mean, the tragedies that happened here. I have to think if anything would hold a spirit back. That sort of blazing destruction.
There are a lot of theories. Great emotion produces that sort of phenomena. This would be a place that would. And I encountered the illusionist for the troupe. Truly a unique individual. The skills that they managed to display were, well, I'll admit that on a cursory glance, I could not penetrate them.
The illusionist?
Yes.
Songda, perhaps I should get that water for you.
Maybe that would be I sure.
Like we
Solve
see a servant glide through with water. You can take something off the tray to hand Iron Lotus.
Yeah, I do that very quickly, and then I take away the flower and replace it with a glass of water.
So you've been enjoying the revelries?
Oh yes, the troupe is very talented. I think they'll put on an enthralling show tomorrow.
I have belief that their reputation certainly implies it, and from what I've seen, they do have many talented folk. Lotus mentioned, yes,
between the restoration and the prestigious Moon Petal troupe and all of the decorations, Master Gongshi's pockets must be very deep indeed.
or his aunt's pockets. Lotus, other than Songbird, did you observe anything else particularly interesting?
Yes, Master Baoshi, it seems that it is quite an undertaking that we have. I did manage to speak to Van Shan's assistant to learn more of her, and she does seem to be an interesting individual. But more than that, I've noticed that a member of the Golden House of Songs, the Jade Sword Sage, has been actively avoiding all of our eyes in our group in
Really?
particular. Yes, I'm not sure if there's anything worrying to hide, but there is something hidden.
Well, perhaps I will. Perhaps we should look a little closer there. If there is something nefarious, having someone hidden amongst the troop would be a good means in. The architect also mentioned that over the intervening years, there was a groundskeeper, someone who had kept up the place, even though now quite aged. Perhaps tomorrow, before the grand opening, maybe a chance to speak with him. It would maybe illuminate a little of the stories of this supposed haunting.
I mean, if I could find a story of a real haunting, a true haunting, can you imagine the histories I could write about that?
You are especially good at ferreting out information. Maybe you should go and see him.
Well, if you think that would help the investigation.
It could be very vital.
Oh. Well, then certainly.
I've also
Yes.
thought. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, well, Songda, of course you have been most helpful in the past. Surely you realize this. We would not have been able to succeed without your contributions and insight.
Oh no. I'm just here to record events. I'm not supposed to be. I don't. You're being kind.
I am merely speaking the truth. And be sure to drink all that water, Songda.
Oh, thank you. Takes a sip of water and then gets patting his pockets and looking sort of confused.
I like throw the flower over my shoulder.
Vanishes into the rain. Let's come.
Let me hit a tagger on this.
Sure.
Just as I look over at Iron Lows. It also might be interesting. Maybe we'll see if an old friend of ours happens to be in town. First Orchid might be useful in this sort of investigation.
Of course, Master Baoshin.
And for everyone's reference, would you say who that is again?
First Orchid was our little thief that we saved in the
would-be detective, the pretend detective. Right?
Well, yeah, thief's very observant. She was helping out trying to steal the puzzle sword. But we saved her life. We might have a favor, and she is very good at getting into and around places.
Let me cut to then Lost Song Janai / Blue Mountain Scholar. And Shaolin, we will assume that at some point you've managed to disentangle Grave of Saints, but essentially with the promise that you and he will have a chance to speak further.
Yes. And I'm like, okay, can I change so that I look at? And I'm trying to figure out.
And Shaolin, you will see as you finally kind of catch up with Lost Song Janai, you'll see this swordsman with the bandage across their eyes heading off.
And I come up and I say, Shaolin, I wonder, I kind of wonder if some of these threats are from this abandoned building was used for some other purpose while it was abandoned, and that was a lucrative endeavor. This means that I need to get to the northwest and probably lower levels. It is not so much that I can't do that on my own, but it would be much easier if someone could how to say, keep an eye out as I go around corners and make sure no one's coming up on us.
Yes, of course I can do that. And I'm still looking after
And then I look around and I go,
figure.
there are so many beautiful people here. I should be distracted, but it's kind of giving me a headache, to tell the truth.
Beautiful people and an unusual number of eye injuries.
It happens.
Yeah, let's go. I'll be your lookout.
All right.
So it does sound like you want to kind of check around. Do you want to talk to a particular person, or do you want to make a study move here?
I think that I want to make a study move.
Okay.
Let's see here. And I'm just going to keep on rolling this over and over again until I have my first horrible. Okay, so 2d6 plus 3.
Okay.
So that's an 8.
That is an 8. So that's 1 hold or 2 hold with a complication.
Perhaps I will take 2 hold with a complication.
Okay.
And I will take a clue.
We don't have a mystery yet, so you can't take a clue.
We can't. Okay. Well, then I'll just do the 1. That seems good.
So what is your question or declaration?
Okay, so my declaration is that that northwest side does indeed look like it's been rehabbed, but it looks like it was an earlier rehab, maybe done differently than the rest of the place.
Like someone came in here prior to this and did some excavation and rebuilding of that area.
Yes.
Probably,
and that it was deemed okay enough since it's pretty much just a basement where they keep stuff.
Yeah. And you would guess that it might have been a year or 2 before this most recent round.
Okay. All right.
Does that seem reasonable?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Let's see how we want to do this now. Let's come back to Baoshi, Iron Lotus, Songda. Do you have anybody else that you wish to talk to as a group here to check?
You should give Chow Lin a chance to do something.
I'm sorry.
Chow Lin.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, let's sort to Chow Lin then first.
Well, so now I have to think of something to do.
If in doubt, study.
Good point.
That's always the possibility.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking at the people working here because there are people like setting up who aren't necessarily performers, who aren't necessarily the beautiful people who are distracting and or giving I keep wanting to say Iron Lotus, even though that's not the right character, a headache. And so I think I'm observing the people who are like setting things up and hanging these gossamer panels and just like cleaning up.
Yeah.
Because like they've spent a lot of time here. There's been a lot of effort in fixing this place up. They're putting the finishing touches on it. So I'm like, I guess, looking to see if they seem nervous and what they're reacting to, things like that.
Okay. What do you want to roll that study with?
Let's see, is this metal? Calculation, reflection, awareness, wisdom. Actually, I think this is water.
Okay.
So +2. I don't actually need a +2, but that's a 13.
That is a 13. So that is on basic moves, 3 hold.
Nice. Okay.
And you can ask questions or make declarations.
Okay. Oh, here's study. All right. I'm going to declare that they are nervous about like a specific, like they keep glancing in a specific direction.
Absolutely. That you see a couple of them like talking to one another, like hurriedly about something, and then
Mhm.
they kind of look over, and there seems to be kind of like a general, and then they're kind of trying to avoid that spot.
Right. Yeah. And I guess hold. Let's see. Yeah.
Got two more hold.
About a situation. Yeah, I mean, what's in that direction? I
I
guess
think you'll
like
walk over to that area, and it's kind of a back corridor. It's clearly slightly hidden off. It's clearly part of the network that's used by these people who are kind of flitting in and moving around and creating this effect. And you will see that there is a sword laying there. And you look at it, someone has left it there, dropped it there. And as you kind of like turn the lantern to look at it, you realize that it is the sword that you saw Jade Sword Sage had at his side earlier in the evening when you kind of spotted him moving around trying to stay out
huh,
of the way.
huh. Okay. I think I will well, I guess first I'll call Blue Mountain Scholar over and point it out.
And this is it. I think he shows up and goes, huh. Uh, looks up, looks down, looks around to see anything that's like a sign of disturbance or why the sword would have ended up here. So you can ask. I mean, that's
You've still got one more hold, Shaolin.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me look at my options here. Yeah, I mean, I think my first instinct is to look for well, the guy who Jade Sword Sage, that's him. Yes. And wonder where he went. So I guess my question is, where could he have gone from here and like not be
I think you find that
seen?
there are some steps that kind of go up to the second floor and then up that are kind of tucked away. These are servant steps. And I think when you come up to the top of it, uh, you'll kind of be on like a pass around landing around the like top floor. And you will see that there's a door and there's some water by it. And kind of open it up, and it is actually an access door up to going outside onto the roof. And it looks like rainwater has come in, so somebody opened this a while ago.
Go out on the roof.
I follow.
Okay.
Master, you don't need to come out here in this rain.
It's good for
bad
my
for your health.
knees. Yes.
Are you
Hey.
sure? All right.
Okay. If I stop moving, I'll stop moving.
And the two of you will walk and look around, and I think there is a moment where you're kind of looking out in the rain. You've got the umbrellas that you brought with you kind of up, and are kind of and there'll be that flash of lightning, and up at the peak of a roof you will see this body splayed out there, mouth hanging open, upside down, clearly Jade, Sage, dead.
Then.
Well, that's
Yeah,
quite the find, Joe.
I gotta get up on this roof because definitely don't want Blue Mountain Scholar climbing up on a roof like his brittle old bones.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will be able to go up and kind of drag the body down to this landing, and you will see that he has marks on his face, like cat scratches.
I knew you were going to say that. Oh, no.
I actually think that's enough of a tag that's probably where we stop tonight. We've got the
Okay.
beginning part, the potentially first murder of our mystery here, with our Jade fellow dead. We can I will get the murder and facets set up for next time, so clues can start to emerge. Let's do our check-in on entanglements. Basically, did you interact with them? Did you feel the tugs from them in any way, shape, or form? Song Da. I think you definitely hit your romantic one. We touched that, right?
I don't think I could be in the same room as Iron Lotus and not hit that one.
Okay.
We're just so awkward at each other.
Okay. So I think that's since that's the first one, so to take 2 points for that. Blue Mountain Scholar. Did we hit either of yours?
No. I mentioned some of the things, but not even close. So, yeah. So nothing.
But we've got those kind of hanging out there for next time. Iron Lotus. I think we got your Song Da one.
Yes.
So that's 2 points. Shaolin, you've kind of, we're talking about the Sister Lushan one. You're kind of alluding to that, so I think we're kind of touched on that. So that'll be 2 points. And what about for you, Baoshi?
Well, I mean, this is last session and this session, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
So obviously, my romantic was a big part of last session.
Yeah. So we'll give you the 2 for that then. Okay. Which actually means if we go back to Blue Mountain Scholar, I think you hit on at least a romantic one last time, right?
At least a brief mention.
Okay. So that's 2 points for that.
Okay.
And yeah, so that brings us a couple of points for everyone. We'll start out next time kind of in this. We've still got some NPCs to introduce, but we've got quite a diverse cast on there to move around in, and a thunderstorm, an opening night still to come, and all this, that, and the other thing. I would like to do just a quick stars and wishes if you don't mind. Patrick, Songda.
Yeah, I had a wish last time of like wanting to see the effects budget spent on the show and like all of this amazing renovation and performance stuff, and this isn't even the opening night and it was already just like wonderfully over the top. I love that we got like a full round of everybody adding in weird details, and lol, I loved all of the over the top pieces that you brought in. It was great. I can't wait to see. Well, I don't know. We may not get to opening night. Who knows how things are going to go? But
Yeah.
more of that is going to be great. I Sherry, I really liked your personality work this time. It was neat, like how you got to sort of represent your character to someone for the first time, like your disguise and all the aspects of it as you were explaining it to Ethan. And so it was a great like chance to like get familiar again and focus in on all of your like I love your sleeve work and the I love the little scene with the guy who knows exactly who you are. It's like, do you have a cold? Oh no, I'm practicing disguising my voice. It's great, and I love that you got that little warning again about the bureau. I definitely want to interact with Blue Mountain Scholar next time and hit on / hint at some of that tension there.
Excellent. Anything wishes besides that?
Well, I mean, I have to have more scenes with Hu Yaoshi. It's
Okay.
impossibly hot and awkward and annoying to Iron Lotus, so it's just it has to
Absolutely.
happen.
We definitely have to have one with Iron Lotus in the vicinity. That's the most
yeah,
important part.
1000%.
Okay. Blue Mountain Scholar.
Oh, this was super fun. I, as Patrick mentioned, the house or golden house is very, very over the top and awesomely lovely. I actually really like the setup from the thefts. It opens up a lot of things of who has interests in what's going on here, and that's pretty cool. So we have all sorts of possibilities of who might be involved. It was a good session for lots of people doing their thing. And I really, really am looking forward to uh, Chow Lin. Essentially, I don't know. It's good to have an action guy with me, and I'm not the only sword person. And that also reminds me that I have the have sword will travel that I had just because I was kind of the only sword person. So this gives me the opportunity to trade that out for something that was actually more fitting. But I just had that in case someone who wasn't much of a fighter needed help that I could get there. So
Okay.
now we have Shaolin. So I'm going to swap that out just for the thing. So, because if we have two people, man, we could just like, I don't know, mob a scene.
Anything wishes wise?
Yeah. Oh, I kind of really dig this whole thing with a Grave of Saints showing up. That's pretty funny, and also being called out because my voice is not as different as I think it is. Hilarious and embarrassing. And I really want to figure out what happened to Nanjing Yi. So those are my wishes. And I kind of hope that I see. I mean, I don't know. Undaunted Zedong doesn't seem like they kind of fit in this milieu, but maybe the beautiful boy in blue that would be cool. I have no problem with either of those. So what can I say? I don't know his name. Why do I not know his name? I know everyone's name.
There is a lot of wine, so it does make sense the Drunken Master would be here. So she could.
That's interesting. That would be excellent.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Iron Lotus.
Yeah. I really had fun jumping in mid-session. That was really I liked when I walked into like Lowell in the middle of like an amazing speech. That was really good. I really enjoyed watching Lowell completely tear apart Songda. Just like mercilessly going in for the kill. It was very good. I like any opportunity for Iron Lotus to feel pressured to say something. Um, but you know, of course he won't. And I also am intrigued by Baoshi being caught between uh three possibilities, right? So we'll see. Well, two so far, but then you know, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I also really enjoyed all the characters. They're all very cool. I felt very personally attacked by the scholar with the chi condition, poisoned. What? And multi-talented. What is this? So I also appreciated Tyler suggesting First Orchid could come back in. That'd be really fun. I think the fun thing about games like this one is just like a continually rotating cast, but also bringing back old ones. I know that's a lot for you to juggle, Lowell. So, but
We can at
I
least
do
get a
appreciate
guest
it.
shot of her.
Yeah,
Bring back the
yeah,
actress.
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed the session. I'm really looking forward to the next one. I thought it was like a lot of cool moments. So I'm looking forward to it. No particular wishes other than what's been mentioned already. I'm looking forward to seeing Iron Lotus suffer some more. So
Awesome. Chow Lin.
Um, yeah, I enjoyed all of the awkward moments of people trying to disguise themselves. Uh, and and yeah, I also really liked the scene of Song Da just like being completely overwhelmed with the hotness of this strange guy. And yeah, let's see, what would I wishes? I guess I'm looking at all these NPCs who have like I guess the recurring NPCs as opposed to the immediate like mystery ones, and looking forward to seeing some of them on screen, just like because I have no clue what any of them are about. So
Okay.
um,
Absolutely. Well, definitely one of them we want to get out there is Rising Phoenix. We want to bring them in next time that ties into one of your entanglements there. So definitely want
yeah.
to do that. Awesome. And then about she.
Great session. I loved. I will do some echoing of. I love the what everybody brought into the the top of the Golden House. It was phenomenal. Ray, the people sort of poking behind the scrims and that was so neat. It plays into the hauntedness of it, and Lowell, you kind of immediately catching into how that would feel was so neat. Everything you put in there, Lowell, was just gorgeous and big and huge. It felt like this pleasure palace of total decadence. It really was solid. And Sherry, I think there's something super cool about that obsequious servant on a tile that makes you have to look up to them. And the movement and there was something in that I was like, holy crap, that is so good. That is so neat. So wonderful. Patrick encountering the hotness, as it was said. That was so much fun. I love seeing Song Da be awkward. You do awkward well. Song Da is made for it. But at the same time, it was fun to see someone flirting with Song Da. I like the whole feel of that. And I loved our little jaunt together at the beginning. I thought that was a ton of fun. And Ethan, this felt like you really grabbing hold of the character. This session, we got to really get a good look into Chow and to start to see that character really blossom, and already feels like perfect in the mix and super interesting and capable. And this was a great session, Ethan, out of you coming in with people who already have these things and putting your mark right into the group. That was so well done. As a wish, the kind of reason I bring in First Orchid is because First Orchid also has connections into the thief life, and we don't have a bunch of those in our NPCs, and I still need to kind of go and find my, Captain Lynn stuff. It could be kind of someone who might know about the Vermilion Raccoons. I could get some information. And I always loved that NPC and could be a good observer for shit, and someone who could maneuver around with one of. That's why I wanted to get a couple of extra tokens so we could use some folks that maybe owe us a little. We did rescue her, so
absolutely.
Maybe it's that sort of feel of someone who's working with us.
It gives you the fictional positioning so that you've got the option of whether you want to do it as study move where you're answering questions or you're getting clues, or if you want to resolve one of the outstanding threads, like what's up with him or what's up with the robberies, you've got that move just to kind of solve those non-core cases too. So both those options are out there for you.
And one other wish, I know we'll continue in tonight, but I do want to have time in that day before opening night for us to do stuff.
Okay. So definitely, we'll have that day for you to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you all so much. That was great. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm enjoying this as it rolls along. And I'm going to stop the recording.